Hit record first. Good. And then we are going to go live on Facebook. So give me a second whilst we go live on Facebook. Yes. Go live. Allow recording. So good morning, good afternoon, good evening. Thank you for wherever you are joining us today. My name is Marian Amwa, and I'm the author of Breaking Through the Immigrants Handbook for Thriving in the American Workplace. And whenever I say it, I have to pause and say that wherever you are, the principles in this book are good for you to do well, to thrive. So not just the American workplace. I'm also the author of A Routine for Life. And today I will be your hostess and I will be your facilitator for our conversation. I am here to learn as much as you are to learn. And I have an incredible lady, friend, sister, who will be discussing an important topic that we don't talk often about. Is in emotional intelligence. And like I always say, it is my hope that through these conversations, you are inspired, you are empowered and challenged to chart your path to thrive in the marketplace, to thrive in your workplace, to thrive in your home, to really advance. So today, like usual, please feel free to put your questions and comments and suggestions in the chat, both on Facebook and on Zoom, and we'll get to them. Feedback is a gift, so we like feedback. Keep them coming, keep questions coming. If there's something that we say that is really good, you want to reinforce, please, by all means, do all that. And I hope those on Facebook, you can see us, you can hear us clearly. So, happy November 9th, and welcome, Dr. Ruth Dapa Efriye. Thank you so much for agreeing to join us today. Thank you. I told you earlier, I'm so excited. Pardon me, folks, if I'm excited. But Dr. Ruth, please introduce yourself to our audience. A few fun facts will do.
Good morning, Marian. Good morning, everyone. Good afternoon, good day, wherever you are. First of all, I'd like to thank you, Marian, for inviting me on this program. My name is Ruth Dapa Afriye, and I am originally from Ghana, West Africa. I am retired, I like to use that, and I retired early, retired clinical pharmacy specialist, and I'm also an educator at heart.
Wow. Did you all hear that? And today, because Ruth is a specialist, an expert in this area, I'm going to allow her to talk a lot. And so I will encourage folks to please let's engage with our chat on Facebook, put some emojis. If she says something that is, last week was Yetundeism. This week is Ruthism. If she says something that is really profound, is hitting the right spot, please put it in the chat as well. For me, one of the things she just said was that retired. Did you hear that? She's a retired, but she retired early and she's an educator. So get ready, get your pens, get your pencils, get your paper ready. Ruth is going to take us on a journey. And emotional intelligence. So I did a little bit of research and I realized that there are so many intelligences. There is, of course, the one that everybody talks about these days is artificial intelligence, but apparently there's linguistic intelligence, there is intrapersonal intelligence, existential intelligence, naturalist. There are so many intelligences, but the topic for today is emotional intelligence. So I'm going to ask you the very basic question. Very basic, but for me it's great for learning. What is emotional intelligence, Dr. Ruth?
Well, I'll answer this question, but I'd like to say that this is a topic that is very dear to my heart. I was the youngest of my siblings, and I've been told I'm no longer that emotional. I have my emotions, but I manage them well. Emotional intelligence is knowing your emotions, understanding them, being able to monitor and manage them, perceiving others' emotions, knowing what drives their actions and attitudes, and being able to manage your relations well so that you get the outcome that is desired. So in simple terms, manage yourself, relate well to others, and get good outcomes. So
Wow.
that's just what emotional intelligence is.
Okay. So emotional intelligence, you've given us the most basic, simple to understand. Manage yourself, relate with and to others, and expect a great outcome. Something like that. Did I say it well?
Your desired outcome, because
Desired.
you definitely go into every situation or even in jobs or anything with an outcome in mind. We all have expectations, but sometimes how we execute the how to get to that expectation derails our results and we don't get what we need or what we expected to get. So
Wow.
simply put, manage yourself, and that's the personal competence aspect of it. Knowing yourself. There are 4 foundational or 4 principles of emotional intelligence, and they fall under 2 categories. The first one is personal competence, which includes self-awareness and self-management. The other component or category is social competence, which includes social awareness and relationship management. Unless you have the foundational principles, that's your self-awareness in place, you cannot execute the other components.
Wow.
So self-awareness is very, very important.
Huh. We could actually stay on this self-awareness because you hear so many people say, oh, they're not say about other people. I've heard it. I've said it too. Oh, they don't have self-awareness at all. And I'm just hearing you maybe explain that a little bit more before we go to the next question. Because people throw it out there. Do we even know when we say somebody doesn't have the self-awareness? It's please educate me. And I'm asking for a friend.
Okay, self-awareness is knowing yourself and really taking a good, deep, introspective look at yourself, how you respond to situations. Sometimes we react. I used to be very reactive. As I said, I chanced upon a book. I'm an avid reader. I was going through an airport. I found a book, HBR, that's Harvard Business Review's best articles on emotional intelligence. This was way back in 2014. I'd never heard about emotional intelligence. And since I had always been told you are too emotional, I got attracted to it. I read this book and it told me everything I was doing wrong. I felt so bad about myself. Then on my return in another airport, I saw a book by Travis. It says Emotional Intelligence 2.0. And I picked this book up. And fortunately, this book gave examples, taught me how I could work on my vulnerabilities and how I could improve to be a better version of myself, how I could respond instead of react to situations and rationally evaluate situations before jumping into them. So for me, self-awareness is the key to being emotional intelligent. Self-awareness is knowing your strengths. Some people say weaknesses, but I like to address this as opportunities for improvement because that gives hope, inspires hope rather than weaknesses. So that's how I term it. Knowing your vulnerabilities and insecurities. Usually when you don't know these, people are able to take advantage of them to manipulate you for their own purposes. And when you are very secure in yourself and you know who you are confident, regardless of who you are with, whether you are blue, green, red, you have an accent or not, you are able to carry yourself well in every situation and every place.
Wow. Okay. Huh. Knowing your strengths, knowing your weaknesses, which is opportunities, right? Knowing your
For improvement.
insecurities, all that self-awareness is really, really key. Now, I know you've already gotten into my next question. Why is it important? And just let's get there. Let's get there.
Okay.
And I want to, yeah, let's get there. And
I
please
will get there.
ask all your questions. Let the questions come.
Okay.
And Kwesi, if there are any questions on Facebook, please, if you can help me put it here.
It is said that no man is an island. And I learned in business school that people are the center of everything that we do.
Mm.
We could even have conflict with ourselves when nobody is with us. And to be able to achieve our purpose in life, everyone has a purpose. I'm looking at it from the general viewpoint, and if whatever religion we belong to, whoever or wherever we come from, we all have a purpose in life. To be able to focus and achieve your purpose in life, you don't have to be derailed or distracted. Emotional intelligence helps us, or self-awareness, to identify who we are. It helps us to communicate effectively. And in relationships, if communication is not effective, it can lead to conflict. And if conflicts are not addressed properly, it leads to estrangement. So effective communication is also a key leadership principle or attribute. You are able, with emotional intelligence, to communicate concisely. I call it the 4 C's of communication. Concretely, by backing your communication or whatever you're saying with evidence, not just hearsay. You are able to communicate comprehensively. And I'm missing once and clearly. Okay. It also helps us to prevent unnecessary conflict if we are able to perceive others' emotions and understand them. If we don't understand, if we institute active listening skills, we are able to get things clear and don't misconstrue whatever is being said. We are able to notice what others need and provide it to them before they even ask of it. We are able to build trust in our relationships. We are able to confront difficult situations. We are able to be ourselves, authentic selves. And studies have shown that those who are emotionally intelligent earn about 30% more. I have the data.
Oh, wow.
More than their colleagues in the workplace. You are able to negotiate for better deals at home, in life, at work. You are able also to stay calm and be poised in difficult situations. By doing that, you gain respect as you respect others. You are able to gain a circle of influence, and you are able to manage yourselves well. Your words are deeply valued and treasured because you don't act out of character. You manage yourself well, and people know that you genuinely care about them. And you are able to speak the language of kindness, which does not need any interpretation. If you are a project manager like our sister Marian, working in several organizations, you are able to collaborate well with people. Not people may cooperate with you, your subordinates. Cooperation is different from collaboration. Cooperation is, okay, do this, do that, they do it, and they won't go above and beyond. But in collaboration, you share ideas, you work towards a common vision and a common goal. Everybody takes part in it and takes ownership, and you get good results and desired outcomes. In healthcare, patients do better, physicians do better, and we are assessed. You get good reviews. If you are in any business, it applies to every sphere of life.
Okay. Pardon me, people, if I'm saying wow, because I'm wowed. I'm trying also to take notes that is okay. One, Dr. Ruth said, if you have emotional intelligence, this is data, this is not hearsay, there is evidence. the scientific literature says those who have emotional intelligence earn 30% more than those who don't have. Please put that 30% more. You are able to, you have a wider, your influence, yeah? Increase your influence. You are calmer, you manage yourself well, you build trust. And I hope you heard the piece about being able to, if you have emotional intelligence, you are able to communicate concretely, comprehensively, clearly. Wow. We need this. Now, thank you for laying the foundation. I know that this is a quick foundation. She teaches this. Dr. Ruth has been doing this for over 9 years. She teaches this across the United States and elsewhere. And so I know that you are bringing us really, really good stuff. Now, let's bring it. You know the title of the book. Once again, for those joining us, these conversations are normally born out of topics from the book, Breaking Through my book, Breaking Through the Immigrants Handbook for Thriving in the American Workplace. And I hope you have a copy. We are going to now delve into why emotional intelligence is important for the immigrant. And so my question was, how can emotional intelligence help me as an immigrant? Before we get to that question, there are a couple of comments here that I would like to read. So Tuve said, listening skills, effective communication, do a SWOT analysis on yourself. Abby said, can temperament influence? Oh, okay, maybe. Can temperament influence one's emotional intelligence? And if so, how does one navigate such situations?
Do you want me to answer that now, Auntie Marian?
You can answer that now, and then we'll go to that question.
Then we'll go to the next question,
yes,
relating it to the book. Yes, temperaments can influence. The good thing about emotional intelligence is that it's fluid. You can learn it. It's infinite. And I am a testament of it. I've tried it myself. I've seen the results. I've seen the change in me. My closest family, friends, they can attest to that. My co-workers, anyone. So it's having the willingness, the temperament. It's like you are born a canvas, and then the artist canvas. You take the paint, that's your personality, and you paint on it. Whether you are lazy, hardworking, that's the paint. Temperament, my temperament was, I'm very organized. I'll be the melancholic, well calculated, but you can, knowing your temperament can help you with fine tuning your self-awareness to be able to be emotionally intelligent, if that makes sense. So temperament can influence how emotionally intelligent you are, but unlike IQ or intelligence quotient, emotional intelligence, there are skills, just like working out in the gym to develop the muscles God gave you to get big muscles, or walking to strengthen your heart or body. You can still exercise your brain by thinking about your emotions and other strategies that I'll share with you to be able to be an intelligent, emotional person. So that's my answer to the question. It has an influence, but you can manage it. And I've managed it, and I know it's real.
It has an influence, but you can manage it. I think that is the operating word here. Thank you all for your comments and questions. Thank you, Abby, for that. So how can emotional intelligence help me as an immigrant in the workplace, in the marketplace, at the grocery, in the school, at school, in my home? Take that.
That's a good question, Auntie Marian. And that takes me to chapter 2 of your book. Be confident. Be yourself. And you cannot be confident without knowing yourself. We all come from different backgrounds, and we have cultures everywhere. Your organization, your home, even yourself, how you arrange your books, your clothes, all these form culture. And I came to this country as a pharmacist, but I went to school for my PharmD. I was the only person, Black person in my class. I had an accent. You mentioned that in your book, Marian.
Yes.
But I did not let that deter me from engaging in the symposia, in everything that we did. I was different. Embrace your uniqueness. And until you sit down and evaluate yourself, know your weaknesses, as it is said, your strengths, what you bring to the table, know your values, your worth, and be confident in that, you cannot really assimilate into the environment, be it the marketplace, the grocery place. You should not be shy of your accent. Yes, initially I was a bit upset when people asked me, I hear you have an accent, but I embraced it. When I was rising up in my organization and I had meetings with upper executive or traveling as a practitioner surveyor, when I had to introduce myself, in Ghana, we were taught, as you said in your book, Auntie Marian, Kasa. I found it very difficult talking about myself, even with the introduction. I'll shy away from talking about my accomplishments. Then one of my mentors, early mentors. She was the head of pharmacy practice at University of Rhode Island, where I did my Doctor of Pharmacy program. And she's been my mentor today. She told me that, Ruth, you have to do shameless self-promotion. And I asked her, what's that? She says, you don't have to shy away. You've done so much and you have so much to offer. Talk about it. I'm proud of you. Be proud of it. But we're taught that if you are humble, don't say that. And even when you go into a situation, a workplace, and one thing I dislike is when you're, please, thank you. What is please, thank you? Or you see your boss, just look at the culture and don't throw away your culture, but be confident. And as I said, I still have my accent, but I make sure that when I'm communicating, I'm very clear. When I start my lectures or when I start giving presentations at conferences, I introduce myself. As Marian, you said, I'm from Ghana. Please, if you have a question or you can't hear me, and ask them periodically, I ask, am I going too slow? Can you hear me all right? And I see them nodding. I watch them too. That's an aspect of emotional intelligence. When they are confused, I know. When there's something, so I observe. And that's one part of being confident in yourself. The other thing is, if you know what you have, you will not shy away from negotiating. This is one mistake I made. I would do so much. I'm good at organizing people, creating things, but then I don't like taking the credit. When they are giving, say, oh, please, you also help. Yes, you have to share. A good leader shares the credit, but also take the credit. Don't give it to someone. Acknowledge who you are, accept, embrace, and proudly tout those who are looking for jobs. Talk about what you've done with confidence. One thing I realized in this country as I interviewed people for positions, some of them talk, but it's just fluff. When you ask deeper questions, you'll be amazed at how people overrate their resumes and use words like, I won't go into that, but be yourself, be authentic. The next one, Marian, do you want me to stop there? Let's stay on the first.
No, stay there because we're staying there. I'm trying to read the comments. Somebody wrote, LP Rachel, embrace your uniqueness. Another question, shameless self-promotion, being authentic. Where's humility in all of this? Okay, I think there's a question. Being authentic, where's humility in all of this shameless self-promotion?
I will address that. Humility can be defined. Humility is strength in...
Under control.
Yes. Humility is an act, not a word. And I'll give practical examples. Although I was the boss, I would work with my colleagues. Some people get to a situation where they don't care. I would go around my clinics. If they are short-staffed, I jump right in. When I go for an interview, and let's say I have built a practice, I started with one primary care practice collaboration, and this was, we talk about building relationships and people opening the door for us. Marian, you mentioned that. Yes. I got into ambulatory care right after graduation from URI, I had my goals, which we have to practice. Write down your own goals and purposes so that it can merge with the vision of wherever you need to work, and make sure that as you are fulfilling the goals of the organization, you are working towards your own growth mindset and development. Okay, so Dr. Hume, reached out to me and said, could you start this clinic? I knew my strengths, and in humility is saying, okay, I can do it, but I need this help. I need to look for these resources. So it's not like walking about. I like to demonstrate. Here, I'm sitting by a seat. If we're in person, I'll get and walk around. Do you know who I am? Like Ghana. Do you know who I am? Those who are from Ghana can relate to this. I am so and so. No, you are dust. That's what is pride. But in telling what I've done, like I've been able to work with these physicians to start an electronic blood pressure monitoring system. We've been able to help transplant patients get their blood pressure under control. And we've seen over time that it's led to the viability of the new kidneys they received. They have less office visits, less complications, less calls. That's not pride. It's humility, and it's something that I've worked together with others to achieve. And you give credit to your people. If someone helps you, like a student works with me on a project, I have the student present. That's also lifting others up, succession planning, and also helping others grow to be who they are made to be. That's an aspect of emotional intelligence. Because you are confident in yourself, you don't feel threatened by bringing others up alongside you. And that's the difference between the Ghanaian culture and this culture. We are taught, we are from the collectivism. If anybody knows about Hofstede's cultural dimensions, we are taught that, okay, you want to do well. You're not looking to Minkwa, I did this, I want to be the boss and everything, I want to be seen. That's the culture here. And my daughter used a phrase I'd never heard before, dog eat dog. And I'm like, mommy, what's that? It's like when you are competing for something and everybody wants to win. They want to be themselves. But I did not come back from that background. My mother did not teach me that. She used a lot of proverbs and she says, I thought that, which means that if you don't let somebody get 9, you won't get 10. But that she said that's not what it means. It means that arrive where they need to be, get to where they need to be. You won't also get to your destination. Like help people achieve their purposes in life, and you also achieve yours. Okay, so I answered the humility question. The shameless self-promotion doesn't mean walking around touting your badges or accomplishments on your chest, displaying them. You can display them proudly in your office, but when it comes to working with your team or collaborating, all those credentials are not important. They want to see how you care about them and how you can lead them to achieve the common vision.
Thank you so much, Dr. Ruth. We'll still continue. The thing you said about the please, and I think that, the Ghanaian culture or whatever culture you come from, we are just looking at how it influences the way we do things. And it cracked me up when you said, when somebody says something to you, say, or something said, please, thank you. What does that mean? And I quickly translated it into one of the Ghanaian language. Whenever they are saying thank you, they add the please, right? But I think where you were going was also learn the culture where you find yourself.
Mm-hmm.
Do you have to say please, thank you? It's not a sign of strength or confidence, right? Okay. So yes, you can continue. I don't know whether there's any other question. I think there are a few comments. Let me look at the chat again. Yes, we can relate. Oh, Ghana. And somebody wrote good chat. Yes. So thank you all so much for coming. Today's topic is emotional intelligence, and we have Dr. Ruth who is walking us through how we can apply emotional intelligence, whether you're an immigrant or not. But I know that our focus is on immigrants, especially given our culture, where we come from, and being able to know yourself, and then using that self-awareness to succeed or to advance. So any other things you can say, why is it, you can talk to us about why is it important to have emotional intelligence as an immigrant? Continue.
I will continue. I'll quickly touch on two other things. When we present ourselves, we should be confident. I'm still on the confident issue. Eye contact, I had to learn that. And one of my earlier bosses, Newport pharmacy director, he held me with that because we're taught not to look directly in the eyes of the elderly. When you're big kasa, you just bend down. I'm sorry if I bring my language in, you just look down, an elderly person. And also handshakes. People give weak handshakes. We have to give firm handshakes. Here, that's about learning about the culture. The next thing is about negotiating. There's a lot I could relate to from your book, like building relationships here. We were not taught. I don't know if anybody had mentors growing up, but mentorship is very, very important. And a mentor, as you said in your book, has expertise. There are coaches, everyone, but you can approach people. An aspect of developing or fine-tuning, honing your emotional intelligence is taking feedback and learning from others. And if you want to also succeed in the marketplace, workplace, there's so much, I don't know how to make it concise, but I'll do my best. You have to look to people you admire and you have to ask to be mentored. And you also should mentor others. That's how we grow. Okay. These mentors, when we go into an organization as someone coming from somewhere, you have to be observant. That's social competence. Know the culture, know the people, connect with people at a deeper level. Speak to them. When you meet someone and they ask you, how are you doing? Look in their faces, ask them to watch their facial character, their mannerisms. Seek out people who are doing well. If you want to grow in your career, look in your organization. And I did mention, I thought HR was just for complaints and just people hiring, letting people go. No, there are many opportunities. When I became confident, wanted to go advance in my career, I realized from HR upon inquiry that there was something called Management Development Series. And anybody could sign up, but it wasn't made public. So I signed up for that. And I also decided to do some courses. I took a leadership course when the opportunity came for me to continue with my MBA. I did that. But sometimes in our culture, we are risk adverse. We don't
Risk
take risks.
averse.
Risk
Risk
adverse.
averse.
Okay. But to advance in your career, you have to take risks. And if you are emotionally intelligent, you weigh the benefits against that. You not act emotionally. You sit down. Sometimes I make a rational list. Why should I do this? What does it entail? What it will cost me? You sit down and plan carefully. Don't act on emotion. If somebody says, and that's one thing we see back home in Ghana, oh, this business is good, everybody runs into it. You don't do that. To succeed here, have a career plan, weigh your options, do your homework, work on yourself, improve yourself. I did not take a speech class as Auntie Marian did. But if I didn't know something, Dr. Google is there right before a present. I'll look up how the pronunciation of the word so that I'll pronounce it well. The first time my son, I think he's on the line, Ben, I was reading to him, he was in kindergarten. And back in Ghana, we have people all over who may be listening. The animal called hippopotamus. I said hippopotamus. Ben looked at me and said, Mom, what did you say? I said hippopotamus. And I pointed, says, no, it's hippopotamus. Up till now, I can't say it well. Hippopotamus or something. So learn. We can always learn and we can advance and be the better version of ourselves. Then Should I continue, Auntie Marion?
Yes,
So I've talked
continue.
about self-awareness, culture. I've talked about the workplace, how to make yourself, place yourself at a vantage point so you can take advantage of opportunities that come your way. Then the other thing is we have to speak up, and being emotionally intelligent empowers you to be able to advocate for yourself. In our culture, we know that back home, I don't know if it's still the same. When you are good to someone, they are good to you. It doesn't work in this individualistic society. And I learned it myself. Don't leave your future or your career into someone's hands. You know your worth. You know what you bring to the table. So be an advocate for yourself. When it's time to ask for promotion, and here it's based on you having a good, admirable work ethic, being a role model, then you can speak to your bosses or whoever is in charge and bring forth what you need to move you higher up on the ladder. And of course, you earn more as you go up the ladder. Don't think that by just doing your work well, everything, your boss will automatically promote you. No. And when you go for an interview for another job, do your background work. Look in the marketplace, see how much it's being paid for that title or that position. And don't accept the first offer given to you by HR. There's always a range. And one of my mentors taught me, I'm leaning towards the business side. I'll get to the home or practical day-to-day living. You can write down your accomplishment list or why you think you work through that yourself before you go into that interview, why you think you should earn more. And you can leverage your strengths or what you've done in the past and what you can do to help that company, organization fulfill their vision. That means I should read about them too. I have people coming to interviews who don't know much about the organization, the visions, or our future plans, or the landscape. So that's one other thing I'll encourage our people to invest in before we go for job interviews or look for jobs.
Okay. So there are two questions. Thank you, Dr. Ruth. Dr. Ruth is really covering a lot of ground here. Let me move. I said there's a question. How do you remain professional and simultaneously connect deep with people in the workplace? Connecting deep goes beyond the workplace. So, and then there's another question, if you want to take that.
Let me address that. That's a great question. Connecting deep with people doesn't mean you go and you tell them all about you. They said, we are very private. That's one thing I'm proud of, but yet I care about my employees. I'll give a typical example. When I get to the office in the morning, I know almost everyone by name. Sometimes I forget, but I ask. I walk through the clinics and I speak to, hi, how are you? And I look in their eyes. The eyes are the gateway to the soul. Some people are usually very outgoing. You see them quiet. You don't just walk by. Ask them, are you okay? I see that you're a little bit quiet today. And they may tell you something. Maybe I lost my dog. I'm very passionate. I love animals, especially dogs. So I'll say, oh, I'll comfort them. And later on, or maybe they'll say their mom is sick or something. Then later on, you ask about that again. That's connecting deeper. My office was an open door, but they knew everybody can come. They know that you are somebody they can confide in. I don't know if I'm answering your question accurately. You can connect deeper, but not be yourself, connect deeper, but that doesn't mean you display. There are levels. That's also for another day. There are 3 circles of relationships. You have acquaintances, you have friends, you have to know where to place every relationship. And that comes with also being emotionally intelligent. I acquired this skill. You gauge by the relationship and you can move people in, you are the CEO of your life. Emotional intelligence. We have God as those who have all I address us generally by not sticking to, I have God as my ultimate father. I have the scriptures as my guide. But I control my emotions. I control who I let into my life. I could share so many stories here. You can, as the saying goes, you can't prevent a bird from flying over your head, but you know what comes next. So you can control what comes in, who you take in, who you let go, by being emotionally intelligent. You know people who add to your life. That I could go into so many things. I don't want to digress. There are some people who add to your life, and when you are emotionally intelligent, you can celebrate people's success. You will not be jealous. You truly rejoice with others when they rejoice. You weep with them, and you bring others up. So
Okay.
that's my answer to that question.
Yes. Yes. Very, very good. You are the CEO, emotional intelligence. You are the CEO of your life, your emotions, who you let in, who you let out. There is another question. Can you touch a little bit on how to speak up while adhering to the principles of self-awareness?
Yes.
Great questions. Thank you all.
Great question. Thank you all for asking these questions. This is so in-depth that with the questions, it helps us address what may be going through your mind. So self-awareness, if I know, I'll give a practical example, then I'll talk about that. There was an incident where I had to meet with my boss, and formally, if it was the Ruth of 10 years ago, I would be crying, I would be all frazzled, but I'd carefully sat down, evaluated how I felt toward that situation. I had chosen ahead how I was going to present my case. I had also thought about that person's emotions and how the person behaves or has behaved in the past. So I was well prepared in that meeting. And because I was emotionally intelligent, something I've learned, instead of meeting in her office as she suggested, I said, no, let's meet in a neutral place where that power of authority, we are both in a neutral place, we are meeting in person. And I did not go, oh, you made me sad. No, I stated the facts. That's concrete with concrete evidence. And because of A, B, C, D, I would like A, B, C, D, C, E to be done. And she could not behave like previously, how she stood over me and intimidated, bullied me. So that's picking up by being self-aware. I knew that if I did not work on myself, if I hadn't worked on my vulnerability of crying, I would cry and then, oh, you cry, you make it, this emotion, it's not all about you. And no, but I was able to stay calm, present my case, and I prevailed. That's a typical example. So being self-aware and speaking up, you speak what is true. You can say what you feel, or you can't say you made me feel this way. This is how I perceive this action, and I don't feel valued. I did not say you do not value me. Do you see the difference? Your choice of words makes a difference. And that's part of communicating effectively to get the right result. If I say you made me feel sad or you denied me this, right away the person will be defensive. But you cannot deny how I feel. If I say I feel not valued, and that opens room for how. Lead the conversation, be ahead. And if you are calm, you get the desired result.
Fantastic.
If you don't get the desired result, you will not go, it can go either way. You will not be all flattered because you've learned how to keep your emotions under control. I saw a post which says that displaying your emotions in a toxic situation or environment or relationship is like bleeding near a shark. So don't bleed near a shark.
Can you that is deep.
The shark will eat you up.
Can you repeat that for our audience?
I said, displaying
Displaying
your
your
emotions in a toxic relationship is like bleeding near a shark.
powerful, powerful, powerful. There are two. We can keep on going. That was a powerful one. There's another comment. Let me
Oh,
look at
wow,
it.
it's 11:45, Auntie Marion. We haven't touched on the strategies.
Yes, we will get there. And if you don't get there, if you have the time, we might have to do a part two. CEO of your relationships, speak truth. There is only one truth. Our choice of words can make a difference. Okay, let's go to, we won't get, I'm looking at the time, we won't get to the two, but we could. How can I develop my emotional intelligence?
It starts by analyzing. Somebody says SWOT analysis. And there's a resource, the Emotional Intelligence 2.0 book I talked about. For each book, it has a sealed code with a test on Mind Tools. It's a mindtools.com. I'll share the resources later. We will not get to that. We need about 2 hours for this conversation. So you can take a test. You first have to take a test, then be honest. Knowing the truth about yourself is the most painful thing. But until you are able to go through that exercise and be honest with yourself, you cannot make any headway. As I told you, I was generous, I'm kind, but I was selfish. And I messed up some relationships. Thank God, I'm at so much peace now. My husband is a first child. I'm the last child, pampered. I wanted him to pamper me. Certain things, he loved his work. I'll give a practical example here so you can relate to it. Sometimes when he was going to work, I would say years ago, you love your work more than me, and that will create, he won't talk, he's quiet, he'll go come, but I'll be mad inside. You know what that leads to. But I've learned to accept it. I'm not lonely. I used to be lonely. I'm confident in solitude. Emotional intelligence is powerful. I'm not manipulated anymore by those who used to, because I perceive their emotions. I know what drives their thinking. I'm always a step ahead. And I don't moan over things. If something happens, I analyze it. I accept how I feel. What can be done, I do it. I move on. I'm very content in life. So back to what we were saying. What did they say? I forgot. I'm getting old. Sometimes I lose my train of thought.
How can I
It's
develop
natural.
how can I develop my emotional intelligence?
So first, it begins by that SWOT analysis, or even ask your friends. I did that myself. I went around the clinic and I said, I want you to tell me, how do you see me? When I started this in 2014, I said, don't tell me what I want to hear. Tell me the truth about me. People said you are kind, but one girl said, when we mess up your patient schedule and you come front, I want to hide under my desk. You are so angry. And I said, I'm sorry. But that's how she perceived me. And I knew that my approach wasn't good. I accepted it. And again, I'm telling, feedback is important, but it should be from a trusted source. You don't just take everything in. When you've built that trusted relationship, you can take their feedback because you know they have your best interest at heart and they want the best for you. And if you self-aware, as I said, my lady who wants to improve, it starts with self-awareness. So please go back. If you don't have a SWOT analysis, Google, you can find one. Ask your close relationships, your friend, your husband, people you trust. Tell me, I don't want to hear what you want to, just tell me plainly. How, and look at yourself. How do you respond to unexpected situations? When you are angry, how do you behave? When somebody offends you, how do you behave? If you don't like something or something, how do you deal with difficult situations? Do you deal with situations, confront them in a way that ends in a peaceful resolution? How do you act in conflict? Do you always want your way? When you are in a relationship or when you are with people, do you listen more than you speak? Do you interrupt people? All these will reveal who you are. It starts with self-awareness. So please start with self-awareness. And when I took that test, my social awareness was so bad. I did my self-awareness, but I worked on my social awareness.
Okay, good. Very good. SWOT analysis. That what are your strengths, weaknesses, or challenges? What are the opportunities
and threats.
and what are the threats? So do that. That you've talked about it a bit. Do that self-introspection. Sit with yourself, and do that analysis of yourself. But before, and then you talked about as friends, trusted colleagues, trusted friends, and take their feedback, work on that, etc. But I want to go to a few
quick one. In addition to that, anything, if a life unexamined is not worth lived. So you have to do reflective. You don't just take it and okay, you have to work on it, and you have to do periodic reflection and periodic evaluation. These are some of the strategies, and you watch yourself in situations too. If you have a sponge soaked with water, another soaked with let's say orange juice, which is pink, unless you squeeze both sponges, you won't see what comes out of it. So watch yourself under stressful situations, how you behave. And if you are mindful of your emotions and actions, you catch yourself in the middle. And also you need accountability partners, those who call you out and you won't be offended and you take it in good faith when you are misbehaving.
Wow. 9 more minutes. Oh my goodness. We've just scratched the surface. And if you want to come back, if you want Dr. Ruth to come back, put something in the chat. Raise your hand, or in the Facebook, put an emoji that we want Dr. Ruth, because we have really scratched just the surface. Okay, I'm seeing thumbs up. There was a comment here. There are quite a number of comments about displaying your emotions is like bleeding the edge, Shakru. The comment: are women more vulnerable in emotional intelligence issues? That was a question.
Thank you. That's a good question. Women by nature are more intuitive, but not all women. We are all different. That's why I said we should know ourselves and embrace our uniqueness. There are some women who display no emotions at all. So it's different. I haven't done any research on that, but there's no fast rule to that women are. It is believed, but I don't have any evidence to back that.
Okay. There's another comment. Sorry, I'm trying to read the. Elsa, are you there? Can you help me with the comment? What other comment am I missing? Sorry, there's a woman. Then which one did we go to? Oh, there was a comment that showed up, but I can't see it now. Give me 1 second. I know we're almost there. Oh, there was a comment about personality tests sometimes don't show us the right answers. Okay, SWOT analysis. Okay, I can't see. There was a question that was showing up.
Marian, I can read it to you.
Yes, please.
Depending on how one feels, personality tests don't always come up right.
That's true. That's why it's important to do your own self-introspection, ask others. You can't rely on those tests, because if you are not honest, brutally honest on these tests, and there's always a bias. So as it is said, my mom used this proverb that someone making a path doesn't always know it's crooked. It takes a bystander to draw their attention that the path is crooked. So it's good to ask others and to listen to feedback. Okay. In addition to these tests.
Okay, very good. Thank you, Abigail, for reading that to us. I think you make a very important point. So I hear, like, in research, you use a mixed method approach, because one method cannot, especially when you're doing it yourself. Thank you for adding the fact that you have to be brutally honest with yourself if you're going to get there. Okay. Where do you want to go? We have only 6 minutes, so take it anyway. Give us parting words. I've seen a lot of thumbs up for part 2, and there is somebody wrote, we need a part 2. So please take it and end us. We only have 6 minutes. We want to end. Thank you so much. Let me thank everyone. Thank you, everyone, so much for coming. Thank you for your participation. Thank you so much, Dr. Ruth. I could sit and listen to this all day long. And so you're coming back. And I hope you accept our offer, but end us, take it wherever and close us out.
I would say that the key thing to being emotionally intelligent begins with self-awareness. Examine yourself. Be open-minded. And the benefits are way beyond what you could imagine. You live a more peaceful life. The past cannot be undone, but there's hope for the future. I have dealt with it, I have implemented it, and I can testify to it. My close family, my friends, there's nothing like being emotionally intelligent. And I'm a lifelong learner. We never get done. So long as we have breath in our lungs, we can continue to improve, and our influence on others will forever be treasured and appreciated. As we become better versions of ourselves, help others achieve their personal, professional goals, we leave a legacy, a lasting legacy of kindness, of unity, of love. And as we appreciate people, which is one of the aspects of relationship management skills, we add value to their life. We give them a purpose to live, a purpose to work, a purpose to rejoice. So let us go out and start working on this. And remember, examine yourself and don't bleed near sharks.
Oh my goodness. Thank you so much, Dr. Ruth. Everyone is saying thank you, thank you, thank you. Thank you all so much. We may have 1 or 2 more sessions before the year ends, but thank you all so much for coming. We appreciate you. I hope, I know, not that I hope you've picked something, but I have to end this with you, Dr. Ruth. Please, thank you. Please, thank you for coming.
There you go, Auntie Marian.
On that note, see you again next time. Bye, everyone.
Bye, everyone. Thanks for coming and thanks for having me.
Of
God
course.
bless.
Thank you. I am going to end this session.